You've surely been in this situation. You've seen this person several times, but you just can't remember their name. Don't even talk about saying anything. Your mind goes completely blank, as if it's been formatted. The most embarrassing part isn't even forgetting the name itself, but the agonizing tug-of-war in the next 10 seconds. You can only lean back strategically and silently pray that someone will quickly call out their name or that their phone will ring, preferably right now. Even a sudden building alarm would do. People who habitually forget names when they turn to someone aren't simply careless, aren't that arrogant, and it doesn't mean there's something wrong with their brain. In the moment you forget a name, your brain is actually undergoing a computation explosion. Once you understand the underlying logic, you won't need to feel guilty about it anymore. Going back to when you first met and shook hands, your brain is furiously multitasking. You're looking at their face, listening to their tone, rapidly assessing the social context, and even wondering whether they like you and whether you like them. At the same time, you're frantically composing the next thing to say. Your prefrontal short-term memory is basically running at full capacity, and just when your brain can't keep up, the other person casually tosses out an apparently meaningless sound. That sound is their name. Hi, I'm Kevin. For you, Kevin is a completely dangling word. It has no connection to anything you already know. It can't trigger any image or association. It just floats there alone. Your brain is so busy. How could it bother with that? Psychology has a famous Baker-Baker paradox. In 1987, researchers showed the same photograph to two groups. They told the first group the person's profession was a baker and told the second group the person's surname was Baker. Days later, far more people remember the profession Baker than the surname Baker. Why the difference when the sound is the same? Because the profession instantly lights up an entire network in your mind. Flour, oven, kneading. As a surname, though, it's just a bare symbol. Names are essentially hollow, whereas the brain is an efficiency-obsessed machine that only remembers meaningful things. Think back to an important ceremony you attended recently. You might remember the scent of the flowers, the unusual hush in the room, a particularly striking line someone said, but you definitely can't recall the exact words printed on the agenda because your brain quietly prioritized what to store and filtered out the text. A name is like that agenda. What really matters is the person's character and how you interacted in the moment. This next bit might sting. Many people who habitually forget names are actually deeply absorbed in their own thoughts during social interactions. This isn't arrogance, it's pure anxiety about how they're coming across during introductions. Their internal commentary is racing. Are my eyes natural? Is my handshake too firm? Did I just interrupt them? The name flickers through the mind and is immediately drowned out by this internal drama. That's the cueing effect. When people take turns speaking, you often can't remember what the previous person said because you're busy rehearsing what you're going to say next. Habitual name forgetters tend to have an excessive self-consciousness, always half a step ahead, anxiously waiting for the other person to give their name. Their attention has already left the service area. If that sounds like you, reframe it. It's not that your memory is bad, you're just terrified of screwing up socially. Those are two different things. Of course, to the person whose name is forgotten, that sting is real. Being forgotten repeatedly sends a sharp signal. You're not important enough. Rationally, you know the other person didn't mean it, but still hurts. That's how the brain interprets it. There's nothing to be done about that. But please believe this. People who forget your name very likely remember vividly what you talked about. They recall you mentioning your family, remember how you look when you smile, even being moved by some particularly cool viewpoint you expressed. During the conversation, they were definitely present. It's just that they spaced out for that half second when it came to remembering names. Many people misunderstand memory, thinking it's like a hard drive. In fact, memory is not a recorder. It stores impressions, emotions, patterns, and fragments, and it coldly prioritizes them. Strong emotions get stored. Surprising things get stored. Things that can form associations get stored. And at the moment when you're flustered and trying to act normal, the other person tosses out a meaningless syllable. Honestly, if they remember it, consider yourself lucky. People who easily forget names are usually highly associative thinkers. Their memories are strongly contextual. remembering stories, feelings, and facial expression details. Ask them what someone at a party 3 years ago was wearing, and they'll know exactly. Ask them what the person next to them is called, and their mind goes blank because aside from that dry label of a name, their brain has carved every other vivid detail into memory. This isn't a cognitive flaw, just a particular structure. Frankly, these people are better suited to storytelling, empathizing with others, and are excellent listeners. They're simply not good at names. Under intense social pressure, it's just about force memorizing a dry name. If you want to improve, the method is simple. Repeat the person's name immediately when you meet them, or forcibly link them in your mind to someone you already know. You're basically doing by hand what the brain refuses to do, forcibly creating associations. But don't feel ashamed about forgetting names anymore, and stop wondering whether you're cold or indifferent to others. That kind of thought is just scaring yourself. You're not inattentive or looking down on anyone. Your brain prioritizes differently, and your thoughts are easily pulled by inner nervousness. You've just stumbled over the dullest thing about someone. Before they do anything worth remembering, the meaningless sound of the name their parents gave them is, in fact, the least important part of a person. Your sense of their feelings, their real, vivid qualities, that has been in your memory all along and never once absent.